and our amazing Virginia State Senate candidates, Delegate Danica Roem and Senator Monty Mason. They're both running for state Senate this year. They're going to talk a little bit about their races after we kind of go through what's happening with early voting. Essentially, what's going to happen is that everyone is going to give prepared remarks. Then we'll do a question and answer session. To ask a question, what you're going to do is you're going to type it into the chat box. We'll get to those questions on a first come, first served basis. Again, to ask a question, type it into the chat box. We will get to those questions on a first come, first served basis. With that being said, I'll pass it over to Heather Williams, the interim president of the DLCC, to kick us off.
Great. Thanks, Obi. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here this morning. I'm Heather Williams, interim president of the DLCC, and I'm excited to be able to give you all an update today on early voting in Virginia. As the official party committee focused on state legislatures,
recording in progress.
Say here at the DLCC that there are no off years in our work. And that is especially true in Virginia, where we are just a few weeks away from a critical election. We're halfway through early voting, and after reviewing the first few weeks of data, we're seeing some good signs about our chances to hold the Virginia Senate and take back the Virginia House. But this is far from a done deal. There are still toss-up districts all across the state, and here is the bottom line. We need everybody who has requested them to turn in their mail ballots and everyone else to get out the vote. We know that everything is on the line in 2023. Virginia is the last state in the South that has not passed an abortion ban, and if Republicans get a trifecta, they will use their unchecked power to set Virginia back decades. The DLCC has left nothing to chance this election, becoming the first national organization to invest in Virginia, starting with a special election all the way back in January, where we flipped a crucial seat that we feel strong about holding in November. To date, the DLCC has directed or committed over $2.2 million to the Virginia House and Senate caucuses, including investing an additional six figures into the Virginia House this week in response to the National Republicans' inability to govern and select a Speaker of the House. We have also invested significant staff time and other resources to counter the barrage of spending from Governor Glenn Youngkin and others trying to flood the state. Our early spending in January helped build a strong foundation and critical infrastructure in Virginia so that Democrats on the ground can take full advantage of late spending and support from other groups. We continue to invest resources into the caucuses and will be partners with them until the finish line. We know that everything is on the line, and this is the most important election of 2022. The stakes could not be higher. This is the first year on new maps and the first time the full legislature is up for election post-Dobbs. The DLCC is capitalizing on our momentum and leading the fight to attract attention and resources to make sure Democrats win in November. This election is about state power and the direction of Virginia's future, and we're certain an unchecked Republican trifecta would roll Virginia's progress back decades. When we say the stakes could not be higher, we mean it. Virginia is the only state in the South where Republicans have not been able to block access to abortion. Most Virginians want to keep that access, and nearly nobody wants a ban. So as a reminder for everyone on this call, a ban is actually a ban. If Republicans win office, they would focus on banning and taking away abortion and other fundamental freedoms we hold near and dear for us or our loved ones. With how extreme Republicans have gotten, there is no telling how far they will go. Fundamental freedoms are on the line this election, and the only thing stopping Virginia from moving backwards is a Democratic legislature. In addition to abortion being on the line, we've seen what MAGA chaos and dysfunction causes. For example, Republicans still can't pick a Speaker of the House because the last guy worked with Democrats to keep our federal government running. This matters because Virginia is the state with the second highest population of federal employees, with nearly 150,000 government workers living there. Now, as world events continue to rage and aid is needed for our allies, Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives still can't do the basic work of governing and choosing a leader. This brings us back to the Virginia legislative elections. Virginia has real issues at stake, including protecting our communities, putting a check on mega extremism, and safeguarding the freedoms we hold near and dear. With Republican dysfunction at the national level, why should any Virginian trust Republicans to gain a trifecta in their state government? The DLCC has been supporting our partners in the Commonwealth cycle after cycle, and we won't let up this November, next year, or anytime soon. As long as extremist Republicans continue their assault on fundamental rights in the states, the DLCC will be supporting our Democratic partners in defeating GOP extremism. And we're seeing the effects of our investments. The DLCC shows we're in a good position, but it's far too early for either side to declare victory, and it's very close. We're encouraging all of our Democratic voters to continue to vote early, return mail-in ballots, and make sure they're getting their friends and families to vote as well. We plan on continuing to do everything we can for these races, make sure our people are getting out the vote, and counter the lies and distortions coming from Governor Youngkin and his team on the side. Overall, we feel good about where we're at, but we know we have a lot more work in front of us. We feel better than we did in 2021, and we feel confident that we'll be able to match Governor Youngkin's resources for now. However, Republicans continue to invest massive resources into these races, and they're spending big to try to buy their way into full control. It is going to take every resource we can muster and every candidate here with us to make the case against their Republican opponents and their extremist positions. We need every Democrat to go out and vote. With that, we have Tom Bonnier here from TargetSmart,